When you say carbon, you say China. We're Xiamen, the heart of the carbon fiber industry, where the biggest bike brands in the world produce their products. In the past few days, I had the amazing opportunity to go inside a carbon factory, which is normally off limits. I got invited by Winspace, one of the Chinese bike manufacturers. And in this video, we're going to show you how they design their bikes, how they produce a carbon frame, and how Winspace delivers high quality products.
What does made in China really mean? There are these horror stories online from these super cheap Chinarello frames breaking into pieces and people getting hurt. Can we trust a Chinese bike brand and their carbon products? The carbon industry is developing rapidly, and in this documentary we will dive into the carbon manufacturing process of Winspace.
Thank you very much for coming to visit us.
One of the leading Chinese bike manufacturers. Hi, my name is Jasper. I'm a Dutch cyclist and a filmmaker. I've been riding Winspace wheels since 2019. And in the past few years, I've built up a partnership with the brand. Last year, they invited me to come over to their head office in Xiamen, China. I couldn't wait to view their production process with my own eyes. One of the burning questions I had for a while is how do they manufacture their products and guard their high quality standard?
This is fresh from the press.
Yeah.
And as a Chinese brand, are they any different from the market leading European or American brands? For this project, we had 1 week in Xiamen, 7 days to capture as much footage, as much information, and learn as much we could about the carbon industry.
We are not allowed to go in here. There's off limits for today.
It was an interesting week with a bit of a logistical challenge here and there, as these different factories were in different locations and these factories produce products for multiple brands.
Can we show a machine when it's not working in the brake or something?
No. So lots of parties involved and variables to take into account.
I saw a room over there, which it says top secret.
No problem, we can go inside. Yeah, sure. Okay.
This story will be split up in 2 pieces, where in this part we'll show you the head office of Winspace, their distribution and their handlebar and frame production.
Can you lift it or?
Let's try.
In part 2, we're gonna focus on Loon Performance, the wheel brand of Winspace. We're gonna check out their rim production and wheel assembly and testing facility. A fun fact I can already mention is that many big brands are actually manufactured in the same city and even in the same exact location as Winspace wheels and frames. We start off with the HQ in Xiamen, and it wasn't what I expected. We arrive at this big industrial park where somewhere behind in the back corner was apparently the Winspace factory. It was on the 4th floor, and until we entered the actual office, it didn't show any sign of bicycles. We were welcomed there by Chris, who showed us around the office and their different departments. Just like any Western brand, they have departments like domestic, international, HR, R&D, engineering, the financial department, you name it. We already came across some interesting topics.
Every single Monday here, we have we sing corporate songs and we share our stories.
You sing songs?
Yeah, we have a company song.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Well, too bad we're not here on Monday morning, but that's interesting, man.
What stood out to me is that they really have their own engineering, their own design department, their own research, and their own development. And everything is all in-house at the HQ.
Handlebars.
I'm not sure if we can actually show this, but it seems to be that they're cutting open handlebars to see what's inside. Now, that's research and development.
Yeah, science.
Science.
Yeah.
Science of carbon.
It's clear that they're not using a standard frame or an open mold shared by another brand, but they develop and test all of their products themselves. Another mentionable thing is that they have a woman high up in the office that calls the shots.
This is the office of executive assistant of the CEO.
Okay.
And this is the busiest office here in Winspace. She's the one who makes many important decisions.
Okay. Yeah, I see like 5 people inside. We're not gonna disturb them because they're doing important stuff.
An assumption is that the work environment in China is very bad. However, what we've seen in this week, it was actually pretty good. For example, it's very common in China to have a large break midday where all the employees take a nap. They literally have a stretcher next to their desk and they fold it out and they go to sleep. We've seen this not only at Winspace but also at the other factories we visited. Winspace actually has a bit of history already. They started in 2008, founded by Xiamen China, who is still the current CEO of the company. There have been quite a few interesting developments in the company which Steven told us about in a thorough interview we had with him. The entire interview will be published in a different video, but to give you an idea, Steven gave us a quick tour in their showroom at the HQ.
We're in the showroom.
Yeah.
Steven made some time. Can you give me a short loop around this amazing showroom?
Yeah, of course. This one is our first bike from 15 years ago. Last year we hold a dealer like new products release, and then we just bought this bike from one customer.
Really?
Yeah. After 15 years ago, he was still riding this bike.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this bike is where it all started.
Yeah, I think really meaningful for us.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
and then you'll see the painting maybe not so modern, and also actually I designed this graphic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did.
And it's T700?
T700 because we used the Toray T700.
Okay.
But from this bike we just use like T
As a name.
as a name.
Now we are at T15.
Yeah, we have T. This one is T900.
Okay.
And this one is our T1100. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it here.
Yeah, here. And also we have T1300.
Stepping it up. Okay.
Yeah, but and Chinese people don't like a 14, so we just and then after T1300, and then we have T1500.
That's why our hotel doesn't have a 14th floor. We didn't
Yeah.
know this.
If
New
you
information.
if like a number 4, people think 4 is not good.
okay.
Yeah, not a lucky number. So we
Okay.
just 13100 that model.
Yeah.
We call it is like a champion model. And also the riders, all the riders use that bike. I think they gain more than 30 victories in the races.
Awesome.
So it's a model of like a victory.
Victory.
So we have named Winspace. So we can win in the riding in the races. Yeah, and also means a winning life. Here you can see all the histories. Actually, we did a lot of things. We run the bike shops, we hold races, we create brands. So we have really big passion about cycling. So we did so many things. And also now you see we have some brands. We have Winspace, we have Run brands.
Yeah.
So it's like a family. We have different brands. All over the world, we have more than 1,300 dealers all over the world.
1,300?
Yeah, yes. In China, we have 300 dealers.
Wow.
In Japan, we also become main brands in Japan. Also, we have 200 distributors here in Japan. US, we have 100.
That's amazing.
Yeah. In China, we are first racing brand in China.
For bikes?
For bikes. We have lots of transportation. People use for transportation, like alloy brands. But now Winspace really represent the highest quality and image for China.
Besides the different departments, an important job at the HQ is the distribution of all the products. Big boxes come in with their frames, handlebars, rims, spokes and hubs from their manufacturing partners, which we'll see later in this video. These products are all checked and registered in their digital system before they continue in a different direction. The rims, spokes and hubs are assembled into wheels, which will focus in part 2 of this documentary. The frames and handlebars will go to the warehouse to be shipped directly to consumers, to dealers within China or other countries, or they go to their bike assembly room where they're built complete bikes to sell to the domestic market.
So here is the warehouse.
What does this say?
It's saying, do not go inside without permission.
Do we have permission?
Yeah, sure. We do.
Oh, okay.
It's locked.
Really?
Yeah. So this is the big warehouse I just mentioned.
Yeah? Big warehouse.
Yeah.
So many boxes.
Yeah. Hundreds of them.
So
And
this is the box that I get back home, right?
Yeah, that's the finished goods packaging.
It's almost like we've placed it here for the video, but this is actually how it is. So the boxes come in like a neutral box, ugly box. You guys check it.
Yeah.
And then put it in this box, fancy box to ship to the customer.
Yeah.
Dude, so many boxes. If you're wondering if they have stock, I'm pretty sure they have stock.
Now let's have a look at the actual carbon production. We're gonna start in a small remote location that Winspace has set up outside of Xiamen to produce their handlebars and perform a big amount of their quality testing on their wheels and handlebars.
Today I'm going to show you our secret R&D base.
By request of Steven, we couldn't show or mention the exact location and name of this secret location.
So here you see is your real curve.
It's really cold.
Okay.
What is this?
It's storage of carbon fiber, toluene fibers.
Actually, the
Yes.
carbon process of a frame, handlebars or rims is very similar. It all starts with the raw material, which is called pre-preg. This is pre-impregnated carbon, a sandwich of carbon and resin turned into a big sheet and then rolled up on these giant big rolls. These sheets need to be cut into small pieces that are used in the molds. This is basically the first step of the whole process. Step 2 is the layup of all these little carbon pieces into a shape of the handlebars. Steven tells us how this is done.
Inside the handlebar, we have this we call the EPS.
Okay.
EPS process.
Yeah.
And then we wrap the carbon fiber on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we still have some air pressure. And then they can really push the layup to become together and tight.
Inside
Yeah.
what she's holding,
Yes.
there's EPS
Yeah.
and the little plastic bag.
Yeah.
How do you get this out?
When you bake the products, it will become really small, and then we have some holes on the handlebar, and then we can just take out.
So it melts and
Yeah, melts. We can take out.
okay.
Okay.
It's funny because I was grabbing the little carbon sheet and it's sticky. It looks a little bit like duct tape and they're sticking it on. It's like a sticker and they add all these stickers on top of each other, but it's still soft.
Yeah.
The whole thing
Yeah.
is still soft.
Yeah.
How many layers of carbon sheet will be in the handlebar?
Mainly only 2 or 3. Also, it's very important that we could not have bubbles inside the carbon fiber, so you can see some small holes here.
So the air can go.
It can go outside.
Step 3 is baking the carbon in the oven, where the carbon becomes hard and strong. This is very labor intensive. They use machines to lift up these heavy molds. The mold itself is heated by oil that flows through the heavy metal mold, and then by applying air pressure on the inside of the handlebar, they push the layers of carbon together to make it into a strong one-piece carbon.
Yeah, it's 151 degrees.
This is fresh
Yeah,
from
fresh.
the press.
Yeah, fresh.
Literally, it's still warm. It's like you go to the bakery.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
take
yeah,
the
yeah.
fresh
Yeah, yeah.
croissant. It's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
warm.
Yeah,
So this will become the complete handlebar.
yeah, yes.
3 pieces.
Yeah, 3 pieces.
Okay. What is the next step after this?
Yeah, and then we will do machining.
Step 4 is joining different pieces together. The handlebar shape is made out of 3 separate parts that are glued together before they go into the oven again.
And then he's gluing them together.
Yeah, together. You see some glue inside.
Yeah.
Outside we still use use layer.
One extra layer of carbon.
Carbon.
After the glue, and then they go in the machine.
Yeah,
in the
big.
bakery.
Yeah, yes.
Step 5 is finishing of the handlebars by sanding it down. So after the production, a very important part is the quality control. At Winspace, they do a very extensive QC with microscopic cameras and even X-ray, which is not common practice in all brands. When we were there, they still made use of the X-ray of the hospital, but they've got their own X-ray machine ordered and arriving in the near future.
Now with the machine, you can scan them all. Do you scan every fork or?
Yeah, every fork.
Every fork?
Yes.
Every fork that comes out of the Winspace factory is checked?
Yes, carbon fibers production process in the factory. Many process is made by work.
Yeah.
By hand.
By hand.
Besides the visual QC checks, they also test on fatigue to make sure that every piece that rolls out of the factory is safe to ride.
What is this?
And before shipment, we do for every piece of handlebar 1,000 times.
1,000 times to test if it's strong enough.
Yeah.
Before you sell it.
Yes. Every pieces.
Every piece.
Yes.
This will mimic hitting a bump or a pothole like on the road.
You can feel the force. You can feel the force. It's a really big force.
Wow.
Big force.
Yeah, it's a lot of force. I can feel.
You can feel this.
I can feel the deformation in the handlebar. The carbon is moving. Like a lot of strength is going inside.
Yeah.
If you test every single handlebar,
1,000.
This is very expensive.
Yeah.
For you, it's very expensive.
Yeah, but for safety.
For the safety.
No compromise for.
Is this why Winspace handlebars are maybe a little bit more expensive than the Alibaba?
Alibaba, you cannot reliable. You cannot rely on the quality.
Made in China can mean a lot of different things. But as far as I know right now, these pieces are tested. And you can be sure that when you ride a handlebar like this, it's going to be safe.
Next to the fatigue test was a drop test. This is a required test to pass a drop of 35 centimeters without failure while loading the bars up with 16 kilos of weight. Winspace makes sure their handlebars can withstand a drop of 55 centimeters, which is way above the industry standard requirement.
There's like a big machine here. Yes. So you put in 2 weights on the handlebar, you raise it up, and then you drop it down to make sure it doesn't break when you have the impact.
Yes.
That's the test.
Yes, sure.
You do this with every handlebar?
No. So this is only for R&D. When we do R&D, we test it.
Okay.
And then for mass production, we only pick up one piece from out of 200 pieces, and then we test it. We test. Pick one. Yeah. Common standard for the industry is about a drop from the height of 350 centimeter.
Okay.
And our limit test will be 550 centimeter.
Okay. Your standard is more than the industry's requiring.
Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Boom!
Yeah, boom.
So big difference from the fatigue test where they actually, with less force, they put this fatigue on the handlebar before they ship it to you to make sure it's a good quality. This machine is going way further to test in the development phase if it can handle a really big load and not break. But it's not designed to test every handlebar because you're basically damaging it on a micro scale. So this is just a really high level test.
Now we go back to Xiamen to finally visit one of the 4 locations in Xiamen where Winspace frames are produced. By dividing their production over multiple locations, they spread out their risk, and this is actually common practice for most brands in the industry. These factories, or manufacturing partners as they call them, have a much larger capacity than just to produce for only one brand. So frames of multiple brands will actually come out of the same location. So does this mean that all these different brands are actually the same, just with a different logo? That's what we're gonna find out.
Okay, so we are now inside the carbon factory of Winspace, where they get their frames from. It's Sunday morning, and normally they're closed. We've been trying to go here all week, and we've been, the appointment has been canceled multiple times. Right now, they've made an exception to show us the layup while they're actually closed. We're gonna check out how they put all these pieces in the mold for the new AGILE frame. When we arrived, we did just a quick peek around to see what we can and cannot film. And there's a few big brands here being produced. One of them is Winspace, and we're gonna only show you the Winspace parts. So especially for us, there you have laid out the carbon mold. And this lady is one of the persons that actually puts in the carbon. So let's just have a look how they do this. Chris is with us, he's from Winspace. Nobody here speaks English, so Chris is gonna do his best to translate it for us and help us out here to, show what we do. She has a very big book with instructions. It's like a puzzle, right? So in here, there's all these little pieces which give her the instructions on how to actually place these little pieces of carbon inside or out around this mold. So Chris, how many pieces go into this mold?
So totally it's about more than 200 pieces.
More than 200 pieces?
Yeah, and for different structure, different angle, we will use different pieces.
I noticed this is very similar to the process we've seen where they create the handlebars and also where they create the rims, carbon rims. So you could say that the actual process of carbon production for a wheel, a frame, or a handlebar is the same, just on a different mold. The first step I saw her do when she put it in this yellow mold is mark a couple positions. Then this is extra reinforcement for the bottle cage. There's holes here where you screw in the bolt to fix your bottle cage. So that goes exactly here on these little marks that she's put on the frame. So I see the instructions I just showed. She just did the reinforcement of the bottle cage, then this very big piece on the down tube. Next step will be, I think, reinforcement on the bottom bracket. So she's cutting in the hole. Obviously your cranks, like your axle goes through. So I can just exactly follow her steps by this instruction manual. Everything is done by hand. Every single piece is placed by hand according to the manual they have. It's a lot of work. I asked her before, she spends about 2 hours normally on just this part. So this is only the front triangle. In the whole bike, there will also be the rear chainstay, which will be glued together in a different process. Every piece out of the 200 has a number, which they again refers to on the instructions, okay? So this is the bottom bracket. This is where you screw in your bearings, right? The thread of the bearings is metal, and it's placed inside the carbon frames. She's enforcing a bit of this structure, and then she's going to put it right there on the mold where it needs to go. Chris, we want to ask her, does she ever think about where this frame would go? Like, what kind of person would be riding this bike?
一般都是骑手吧，骑手就骑的比较多吧。
So she will not really know, or she will not really notice the different brands because she will do whatever the instruction manual says. For her, it's the same procedure.
Yes, so she will do exactly what the books tell and not treat different brands like different process, no. Totally same follow the guidebooks.
So guys, what I see is in this room, there's no difference from Winspace or another brand which comes out of the same factory. The differences are made in the brand, how they do their additional designing, how they do their engineering, how high they set their standards. And they decide if this will pass the quality control or not. For her, it's all carbon bikes. The carbon layup consists of two molds. This goes inside the frame, and that's what she's working on right now. Then after she's done, this goes into the big, strong metal mold, similar molds as we've seen in the wheel factory. In previous carbon production, they used a bladder. It's like a plastic bag that they put inside the carbon when it goes into the mold. The mold of the AGILE, the new Winspace bike, is made out of latex. And as you can see, obviously this is flexible. And the lady puts all the carbon sheets around this latex mold, which create a very smooth surface on the inside of the frame. And they will apply air pressure inside this mold when it goes into the oven to push the carbon on the inside, and then the mold is being heated. And this will cure the resin, make it a really hard, strong frame. After this process of the oven, they will cut this up and pull it out of the mold, so it's out of the frame, and then they can continue to the next step. The whole process of laying the carbon takes 2 hours. Now she started, she needs to finish, because they took the carbon pieces out of the freezer. So the carbon needs to stay fresh, so she needs to finish the entire process. We are going to have a look at these big molds where the finished product goes in to cure the resin. So this is where all the big molds are. I see big molds, small molds, different styles, not just frames. Like if you watch this, this is what a mold looks like from the inside. I don't know which part this is for, but they put a bike frame in a mold like this, and then it goes into the oven to cure the resin. A mold of a bike is like that.
Yes.
Well, judging from how heavy this little thing already is,
Yeah. Do you want to try?
this is going to be impossible. Can you lift it, or?
Let's try.
What the fuck? Dude, this is incredible. It's so heavy. Almost impossible to lift this by yourself. It's crazy heavy. So a frame actually consists of multiple pieces, which all go in the oven separately. So we've seen her put up the front triangle. Then there's also a rear triangle similar to this. This is a different brand, but Winspace will create something the same. Then, when they come out of the oven, they will join these two together with very strong glue and extra reinforcement. We've seen exactly these processes in the factory where they created the handlebars earlier this week. This is an example frame, but this is how it will look at the end. So you have the front triangle and then the rear triangle, the chainstays, and this is the new AGILE frame of Winspace. So after bonding these three parts together, it will look a little bit like this.
Because the factory was normally closed that day, the ovens were not in operation. And they were actually behind a closed door, so we couldn't even see them. So we haven't seen the actual baking and finishing of this AGILE frame, but it's very similar to the process that we've seen in the handlebars. And also, just like the handlebar, the frames are thoroughly checked on their quality. After finishing the frame, it will go to another location to be painted before it arrives back at the warehouse at the HQ. We didn't have enough time in this week to also visit the paint shop, but that's just a very good reason to come back. We did receive some footage from Winspace showing their new, recently released C5 frame production. On this footage, we could see that they use a new technology that allows to lay up the entire frame in one piece that goes into one big mold, instead of gluing the front and rear triangles together. It's pretty awesome to see that these factories keep pushing it on the innovation side. and keep improving their production process. So after seeing multiple factories and talking to a lot of people on and off camera, the conclusion of this documentary and the answer to the question if all carbon bikes are the same is like baking a cake, where you have a kitchen, the ingredients and a pastry chef. And even though it's the same chef and the same tools used in the kitchen, the ingredients may vary, the temperature of the oven may vary, and the way the cake is made may also vary. So different types and different qualities of cake will come out of the same kitchen. But also you can have the best ingredients in the world. If the chef doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't have the skill, the cake is not gonna taste very good. And this is exactly the same with carbon bikes. Toray 800 or 1000 carbon alone doesn't make a good frame. It's the combination of high quality carbon, proper tools and machines in the factory, and the people that have the skills and knowledge to produce a high quality frame. The brand will actually have a big influence in the required specifications on the frames. Just like a high-end pastry shop will have different qualities of cakes compared to a low-budget supermarket, even though they could be produced in the same kitchen. In this case, we've had a closer look in the kitchen of Winspace, and I can say that it's clean, they have a high standard, and they produce high-quality frames that are safe to ride for a fair price.
Okay, we're wrapping up this amazing week here in Xiamen. I've put in all my effort to show you the complete story. We've been through all these different locations. We've tried to figure out all the logistics. Massive, massive thank you to Winspace for this opportunity. And if you want to know more about their quality standards and their wheel production, make sure you check out the video right here. I'm going to see you next time. See ya!